Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to our today's information session on the Youth-Led Solutions Initiative. So we'll just give the rest of the registrants who will be joining us for the information session a couple of minutes before we can begin with our meeting. But thank you all for making it today to join us for this important session. Feel welcome. And just for anyone who may need translation from English to Spanish, please go to your interpretation function and you can be able to access the function to have translation from audio English to Spanish. Okay, good morning, afternoon, evening. My name is Gloria Anyika and I am based in Nairobi, Kenya, a new program manager at World YMCA, and I'm leading the Youth-Led Solutions Initiative. Thank you to each and every one of you for being here with us today. We are very pleased to be able to hold this information session today and share with you about the upcoming Youth-Led Solutions Summit on the future of work, share an overview about the community of impact on employment and entrepreneurship. And we will also be able to outline collaboration opportunities for YMCAs across the globe. This session is also going to be a good opportunity to ask any questions that you may have that is program related, and we will be able to provide clarity by the end of the meeting. So without further ado, I'm going to dive right into the agenda of the day. And I will begin by playing a short video that will outline the whole initiative of the Youth-Led Solutions Initiative, after which I will hand it over to our Secretary General, Mr. Carlos Sanvi, so that he can share his opening remarks. But Carlos, before I turn it to you, I would like to just play a short video that is going to help outline for our attendees today the entire initiative on the Youth-Led Solutions. So Natalie, please.
Our world faces many problems, and young people have many of the answers.
The audio's cut out, Natalie. Might have to abandon.
Sustainable planet and communities for everyone on Earth. We do this by amplifying youth solutions that are addressing some of the world's biggest issues. For decades, YMCA has been deeply embedded in communities in every corner of the world. Now we need to support and equip young leaders to be multipliers of change. We are creating an international network and conversation to create solutions. We do this with the Youth-Led Solutions Initiative. Young leaders come together to form solution teams using design-based thinking to address the problems of the planet. Using the Sustainable Development Goals as a framework, the issues we tackle will change with each summit. Entering teams are then connected to resources, like workshops and leadership coaches. Their ideas questioned and tested by experts to develop solutions that innovate and are practical for the people they aim to help. With partners, NGOs, academia, and businesses, teams are able to bid for seed funding to get their ideas off the ground. While they are implementing local solutions, collectively, their impact is global. Finally, change happens. The answers are here.
Thank you so much, Natalie, for playing that video. It's a short outline of what the Youth-Led Solutions Initiative is about. And at this moment, I would like to give space to Carlos so that he can share, so that he can get a chance to share with us the bigger picture of the Youth-Led Solutions Initiative before we can proceed with the agenda to share with you about the upcoming summit on a youth-led future of work. Welcome, Carlos.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Gloria. And thank you, team. Dear friends, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. What a joy to see many of you. When I was told there are almost 100 people who sign up for this information session, I was thrilled, and I'm still expecting that many will join. A great shout out to all the young people, the program staff, the CEO, National General Secretary, and some volunteer on the call. And great thank you for the World YMCA team for putting this together. You know, YMCA was created by young people to respond to the issues. So if I want to pull it a little bit by the hair, I will say YMCA was created as a youth-led initiative or youth-led solution initiative. Young people gather to address specific program they were facing on that time. And they started and they grew from London to all country, then it became a worldwide initiative. And with time, those young people became like me, but they have that passion and then they continue to be. And gradually YMCA is a family, but the focus remained on young people. But there was a change, and the change was instead of being youth-led solutions, YMCA started providing services to young people. Services in housing, in education, in leadership development, and social engagement. So that was the natural development of coming from youth-led solution. At that time, that terminology did not exist. To those services, which are great. And I think many young people, many of you, like me, or many other in the community, will not be in the same position today if it was not for the YMCA. So why do you change something that is working? But for the last 10 years, at least, we start talking about youth empowerment, empowering young people, youth empowerment for good. And I remember in 2018 in Chiang Mai, one of the questions is youth empowerment for what? Youth empowerment for what? What are we empowering the young people for? And the celebration of 175th anniversary in London, that question was the underlying question in many of the activity. And as the leaders, we were trying to understand from the young people what the youth empowerment entails. It came clear to my mind that some of the answer is that we are empowering young people so that they can make informed decision for their life and for the communities. And someone used the word to better themselves, to better their community, and to better the world. So the youth empowerment is a tool or is a methodology, is a process to enable young people to move from being a passive consumer to an active solution provider. This is where the idea of youth-led solution came from, to reaffirm where we come from ourselves. Not necessarily to go back into the past, but when at that time we're asking ourselves, what is in the DNA of the YMCA? The DNA of the YMCA is a space. YMCA is a space where things happen. And when it comes to young people, what from that process should be happening is to equip the young people to move from passive consumer to active solution provider. That's why we believe that the YMCA need to have another theory of change. We need a theory of change. What is the heart of our theory of change is not yet approved, but basically we are taking it to the World Council next year to say, can our theory of change worldwide be grounded around move from providing service to young people to making the young people able to provide services or to provide solutions for themselves, for the community, and for the larger community that is the world. If I want to give you a graphic image, you all know this Chinese proverb to say, give me a fish and you feed me for the day, but teach me how to fish and then you feed me for the life. So youth-led solution is not to give the fish to the young person, but is to enable the young person not only to know how to fish, but to own the fishing net and to ensure that the river is clean so that they can have fish in that river, and to have some regulation so that everybody have access, equitable access and equitable distribution to the fish they want to catch. So that's the base of the youth-led solution. Moving young people from being passive to being active and to addressing the challenges they are confronted with. And not on their own, but together with the YMCA, we provide a space for that. We equip them and then we mentor them. We hold hands so that young people can feel empowered to have a voice on those issues affecting them. So I will pause here for time being. This is what is the underline of all the youth-led solution initiative. We started with a prototype, and the second one is what we're going to be talking about, and we'll have 2 of them this year. But something unique, I don't know if people notice it. We are putting this one June 7 to 9. It's coincide almost with what we were celebrating, the Founders Day, when the YMCA is founded. And it's my view and my suggestion that from this year, I'm not sure next year because of World Council, every year we'll have a global youth-led summit on the foundation of the YMCA to make sure that this is how we started, giving the space for young people to develop solutions for their community. And we should make it as a principle to say, when come that day, we do our global summit to mark that this is what is in the DNA of the YMCA. We should continue that. So once again, thank you for the opportunity and enjoy the session.
Thank you so much, Carlos. Thank you for opening up with those profound remarks about the Youth-Led Solutions Initiative. And I think I'm just going to pick right where you left so that I can delve deeper into the Youth-Led Summit on the future of work. Just to build on what Carlos has said, in October 2020, we launched the Youth-Led Solutions Initiative to put resources, knowledge, networks, funding into the hands of young people and support their contribution to achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. The Youth-Led Solutions Initiative tackles 3 of the greatest challenges facing young people in the world, and that is the climate crisis, future of work crisis, the mental health crisis, which address multiple Sustainable Development Goals. So through a series of interactive global virtual summits and periods of intense community implementation, young people learn, share, and take action to drive change in their communities and help the world achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. Each global summit kicks off a new theme of action. So the first global summit that took place in October 2020 focused on the climate action crisis. And the following, or the second summit that will take place from the 7th to 9th of June this year will be focusing on the future of work crisis. And then the third one will be in October from the 18th to 20th of this year, and we will focus on mental wellness. All these 3 global summits are going to culminate into one physical event in July 2002 in Denmark, where we are going to showcase all the solutions that will have been developed by our young people. Next slide, Mantali. So as I have mentioned, on June 7th to 9th this year, we are going to focus on a youth-led summit on a future of work. The Youth-Led Solutions Summit on a Youth-Led Future of Work is going to empower young people with knowledge about how the world of work is changing, the importance of agility, and the SDGs on decent work. So our Future of Work Summit will be closely aligned to SDG 8, which is decent work. The Youth-Led Summit on the Future of Work is also going to build young people's understanding of employment pathways, skills, innovations, and opportunities in entrepreneurship across 3 specific economies. That is the green economy, care economy, and the creative economy. We hope that we are going to convene more than 1,000 young people from at least 80 countries to join in and be connected to representatives of key industries within the three mentioned economies and across the cutting themes of technology and the digital economy. How we are going to do this to ensure that the young people are afforded the necessary resources will be done through activities like workshops, keynote speakers. We are going to have interactive or networking sessions for our young participants and our YMCAs and engagement, which will later on be followed by post-summit solutions design, pitching, and implementation. Next slide, Natalie. So as I'm talking about the upcoming summit on the youth-led future of work, we are not going to stop just at the summit. So at this point, I'm going to outline the whole implementation process of the Youth-Led Solutions Initiative and how this is going to be a pipeline for youth empowerment and youth-led social impact. So we are going to implement the youth-led solutions on a youth-led future of work in 4 phases. The first phase is going to include or to involve the summit that is going to run from the 7th to 9th of June. So what does the summit mean as an opportunity for young people and YMCAs? The summit is going to provide a virtual space where young people will be connected to all the representatives of key industries who will help them to understand how the world of work is changing, the factors affecting the world of work, and the opportunities ahead for young people and the resources that they need to build on in order to access these opportunities. And for our YMCAs as a worldwide movement, this upcoming summit is going to be an opportunity for us as a YMCA movement to use unique or to gain pathways to engage with young people and our communities. So as a YMCA, this is an opportunity to reach out or to tap into the network of our young people within our communities to make sure that we do the outreach and mobilization necessary so that they can engage in this global capacity interaction and learn about the future of work. After the summit, now we will proceed to phase 2 of the design. The phase 2 of the design will involve young people going to work together with our local YMCAs to form solution teams. Within the solution teams, the young groups of people are going to apply all the knowledge and the necessary resources they will have gained from the summit in order to design solutions or ideas that will help scale their challenges in the areas of the 3 economies and in employment and entrepreneurship. As YMCA during the design phase, we will provide our young people with 1, mentorship. We will help them with mentors from our employees who can take them and support them through the design phase. We will provide them a space for them to convene as they will be designing their ideas and their solutions. So as YMCA during the design phase, this is our chance to provide the support for our young people as a convener, to help them with any mentorship support and to give them that space where they can be meeting or where they can be afforded the resources to access and design their solutions. After the design phase, we move now to the pitching phase. So the ideas and solutions that the youth groups will have developed, they are going to pitch that to a panel of global experts. And this is going to be coordinated through our area alliances. So all area alliances will organize a week of pitching. They will convene a panel of global experts, and our local and national movements will help to receive the proposals from the youth groups and elevate them to our area alliances. Our young people will then pitch their ideas to this panel of global experts, and those solutions that will have aligned closely to the criteria that will be provided by the Community of Impact on Employment and Entrepreneurship and the Global Planning Committee will be afforded seed grants that will now move to the phase 4 of the implementation process, which is implementing. So young people's ideas or the solutions that we will have be provided by the young people, they will be implemented in our communities and at the grassroots level, and YMCAs are going to act as the implementers. They will help to oversee and track and monitor the solutions that our young people will be implementing. So this is just the whole pipeline of our implementation process for the Youth-Led Solutions Initiative that will focus on a future of work. We are not just going to stop at the summit, which is the global conversation. We will proceed to ensure that the solutions or the impact is felt at the grassroots level, and there will be opportunities for engagement with our young people and as YMCAs. Next slide, Natalie. So all this design and planning of the Youth-Led Solutions Initiative, we have a mighty network of a group of young leaders who have formed the Global Planning Committee. The Global Planning Committee represents each region. Each global staff representative nominated 1 or 2 youth representatives from their regions to serve on the committee. And the list of the planning committee, we have 1, Ronald Senghor from Gambia, who's representing Africa. Cristiano Ristov and Carolina are representing LACA, and they both come from Brazil and Colombia, respectively. We have Shakil Karim, who's representing the USA, Melissa Haynes from Canada, Asha and Esther are representing APAY. This group of Global Planning Committee are the stars who are right now working to design and plan the upcoming summit that is going to happen from 7th to 9th of June. So the Youth-Led Solutions Initiative is for young people, by young people, with young people. Next slide, Natalie. And in addition to having the support of the Global Planning Committee members, we have been working closely, of course, with the area leads, and the area leads are also representing each region. The area leads have been playing a key part in helping to disseminate all the necessary information from the global level or from the global committee to our national movements and local YMCAs. So if you ever have any inquiries about the Youth-Led Solutions Initiative, you can always reach out to our list of area leads. We have LACA being represented by Daniel Galan. We have the Africa Alliance of YMCAs that has been represented by Lloyd Wamai. From the APAY, we have Tina Miranda representing APAY. We have Elenia from Europe, Jessica from Canada, Adriana from the USA, and the Middle East, we have the info.youthsolutions@ymca.int email for any queries. Next slide, please. So that is an overview of the Youth-Led Solutions Initiative with a particular focus on the Youth-Led Summit on the future of work. For now, we are at the stage of planning for the first phase, which is the summit. And for that reason, I would like to hand over to my colleague, Mike Bromfield, who is going to share with you about what you may expect in the upcoming summit that will be taking place from 7th to 9th of June. Mike, please take the floor is yours, and you can share what we have in store for our YMCAs and our young people.
Thanks very much, Gloria. Hopefully everybody can hear me okay. Firstly, I wanted to say a big thank you to Carolina, who's providing us with Spanish subtitles. Apologies for some of the technical difficulties we had at the start of the call. Next slide, please. So as Gloria said, I'm here to talk to you about what's actually going to happen from the 7th to the 9th of June. We're expecting over 1,000 young leaders, YMCA programs, staff from local and national YMCAs around the world, all convening to look at the Sustainable Development Goal 8, decent work and economic growth around the areas that Gloria was talking about. We have 2 primary audiences because actually, as much as young leaders and young people are the ones that will benefit from this rich content around employment and entrepreneurship, also it is important that our YMCA and other organizations' staff and program workers are also well equipped to support them and to build capacity around a youth-led approach to solutions and programs. And so there will be content throughout the summit aimed at staff and program workers so they can benefit from this content as well. Next slide, please. So over 3 days, we're going to have hours and hours of interactive content. We're going to have 4 main plenaries. Imagine it like the main stage at a real venue that you'd walk into, that will feature keynote speakers and lots of very high profile talks and panel discussions. What's really exciting is that we're proud that we're going to have a whole host of interactive breakout sessions that will be throughout the entire summit across time zones, that will also be supported in other languages as well. So we will run some native French speaker breakout sessions, some native Spanish speaker breakout sessions, and all of our plenary content on the main stage will be translated into English, French, and Spanish. It will be available in all 3 languages. Next slide, please. So our plenaries, this is something we're really excited about, to welcome keynote speakers from young leaders who are already working in the area of entrepreneurship and employment, who are already implementing solutions in our communities around the world, as well as business leaders, academics, experts, and NGO leaders. We will have one panel for each of our main economies: green, care, and creative, as well as a panel right at the start of the summit that will look at the employment and entrepreneurship space right now, where we're at, considering COVID-19 and looking ahead to 2030. Next slide, please. So it's the breakout sessions where we will have much bigger conversations, roundtable discussions to bring people together who are wanting to learn more about this work and to network and to get together around subject matter specific conversations. Workshops for people to learn. This is an area where we will have capacity building for YMCA staff, and we will have sessions that will help program workers that are working in our YMCAs and with other organizations around the world to help them to facilitate the youth-led approach. Any good event obviously has networking as well. If we were all together in a real physical place, we all appreciate the ability to have a casual conversation. So we'll bring together different groups of people who we think have things in common, just to meet each other and to have an opportunity to maybe talk about areas that they can collaborate on. Our breakout panels will be much like the panels in the plenary sessions, but will be longer. We'll have much more audience interaction and allow for much bigger discussions with our experts. And finally, question and answer sessions where we will have one-on-one interviews with different leaders, and the audience are able to get involved in that conversation. Next slide, please. So that really covers what is going to be 3 dynamic days of interactive content. A full schedule is going to be uploaded to youthsolutions.ymca.int in the coming days and weeks. But we're really excited to welcome everybody to join us. Back to you, Gloria. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mike, and thank you for the detailed update on what we can expect to have in our upcoming, summit from 7th to 9th of June. So this poses the question: what are the opportunities for engagement as YMCAs throughout the pipeline of implementation for the Youth-Led Solutions Initiative with a focus on the future of work? One of the opportunities for our YMCAs as a worldwide movement is to engage your youths across your networks as delegates in the event. So we are calling upon all our YMCA movements to be able to tap into your networks of your young people and invite them to register for the summit that will be running from 7th to 9th of June. And as World YMCA, my colleague John is going to cover later on in this session on how we are going to support you in the outreach and engagement efforts. The second opportunity is for YMCAs to engage their local staff. So in our next segment of presentation, we are going to hear from presenters on community of impact on youth employment and entrepreneurship, and they have a list of engagement opportunities for local YMCAs program staff. The third opportunity is for our YMCAs to work with solution teams of young change makers within local YMCAs to design and implement solutions post-summit. As I had earlier mentioned, while I was sharing the whole pipeline of the implementation process of the Youth-Led Solutions Initiative, we have the design phase of the YLSI, which involves solution teams of young people designing ideas and solutions that will be viable for funding after pitching. So an opportunity for YMCAs to engage is to work with the solution teams to have or appoint at least one staff lead who can support the solution teams during the design of their solutions, during the pitching, and during the implementation process. And another fourth opportunity for YMCAs throughout the process of the Youth-Led Solutions Initiative is employee engagement by YMCAs providing at least one staff member who can provide mentorship support to our young leaders as they will be designing solutions post-summit. We are also going to have an opportunity for funding. And for this summit on the future of work, it is going to be different from the previous summit where the funding was only available for youth groups. For this time, we are also going to avail grants to YMCA programs who would wish to scale or to strengthen their existing employment and entrepreneurship programs. And our colleagues from the Community of Impact are going to talk more about the funding that will be availed after the summit. The last opportunity for YMCAs to engage in the Youth-Led Solutions Initiative is an opportunity to gain a space, a global space, a local space or regional space where you can gain new networks and connections from around the world. So we have our team who is dedicated to seeking different partnerships to be brought on board in order to support our sustainability of the Youth-Led Solutions Initiative. And this will be only realized through the networking or the connections that will be formed within our YMCAs. So at this point, I'm going to take a pause because Mike and I have shared a lot on the overview of the Youth-Led Solutions Initiative before we proceed to the next segment of our session to take any questions from the audience that you may have from our presentation. So if you have any question, you can type on the chat box or you can just raise your hand and we can give you space to ask your questions. You are welcome to ask any questions you may have. I think we have questions
Cedric?
from Caitlin.
Cedric.
Yes. Hi. A great presentation, well thought out. When you envision these program teams in like the topics like employment or climate change or mental health, do you envision the same group of young people taking that from start to finish, or could there be different groups that are more connected to the various themes?
Great question. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dedrick. And yeah, great question. For that reason, we are going to have a fusion of both. A group of young people might choose to participate in the climate action if that is their area of interest, and proceed to participate also in the employment and entrepreneurship session or summit as well, and the mental health. So this depends on the area of interest for the young people, their capacity to commit in order to partake in the different phases of the of each summit and even post-summit. So the group of young people can participate along through or across the 3 summits that will be focusing on different thematic areas. So we don't have restrictions on that, but as long as the young people will understand the commitment that will be required from their end, and they need to follow through with that commitment.
Yeah, I think that's quite an important point you raised, Gloria, commitment. This is a big commitment. You know, it will be a requirement to access grant funding. You will have to attend the summit and engage with it actively as well. And so when young leaders and YMCAs go through the design process for solutions or to scale existing solutions, we will be looking to see if they actively engaged in the summit to make sure they've got that eligibility. I noticed there's a question from Yolanda in the chat. The funding available, is it for new projects or projects that exist in national movements? I think that's a nice, easy question to say that it can also be to scale existing solutions. I think one of the key points is that when looking at scaling, it still should consider a youth-led approach. So working with young leaders to look at how you scale those existing projects.
Yes, and to Caitlin, thank you. We will share the presentation after the call and also the recording for anyone within your network who might not have made it to the call today.
Any other questions at all?
All right, if there is no question, before I pass it over to now our colleagues from Community of Impact, I would just like to mention, as we are edging closer to our summit, we are looking to establish international partnerships, and so far our partnerships and fundraising team has been holding successful or good discussions with the likes of World Economic Forum, International Labour Organization. So it will be a good opportunity for YMCAs or our young people to get that exposure to conversations or to share their ideas as young people on what they think the international or multilateral organizations can play a key role in partnership with the YMCAs to help elevate or to drive decent jobs for youth. So I will pass over to Renata, Natalie, and Tony, who will be sharing about Community of Impact.
Thank you, Gloria and Mike, for the opportunity to share. I'm Renata with the YMCA of the USA, and together with Tony from YMCA Lebanon and Natalie from the World Alliance, we will share about the Community of Impact on employment and entrepreneurship and how we are contributing to the summit. So first, let's do one more acronym for our YMCA lingo. So you will be seeing this E and E all over the place, and that's our shorthand for employment and entrepreneurship. So you will see this coming up. So let's go. The Community of Impact on employment and entrepreneurship was created in 2019 by the World Alliance of YMCAs with YCare in a leading role, facilitating role. Now is the World Alliance facilitating. And this community is one of four, as I think Carlos mentioned in his initial welcoming speech. So there are communities of impacts on other three key topics that are important to young people. In this case, the Community of Impact on employment and entrepreneurship is bringing together YMCA people, like all of you, who are practitioners in the field of employment or entrepreneurship, or who have a very strong interest in this topic. And we are working together as a community to help the YMCA movement improve our capacity to serve the unemployed or the underemployed young people so they can find their career, their jobs, and thrive. We are showing here on the screen the YMCAs, the countries that are now engaged in the community, and also a list of YMCAs that are also supporting the community on specific projects. The community is open to more countries, and we will share in a little bit. Keep going. These are our 5 goals that the Community of Impact plan. We have a very ambitious vision. We want the YMCA movement to create 5 million opportunities of decent work for youth by 2025. We created this vision in 2019 before the pandemic. We keep having that vision. So for that to happen, we are working on 5 goals. One is to understand what is the capacity of our YMCA movement today on employment and entrepreneurship. So we developed a survey and we have received some responses already. Second, how do we build the case so we can work with partners and with other organizations to expand our reach on E&E? the third goal, which is the one we are working the most by now, is how do we train YMCA people? How do we build our capacity so we can have impactful, relevant, and contemporary approaches to employment and entrepreneurship in our communities? The fourth, how do we mobilize resources? So we have a plan for that. And the fifth, we know that for this work to make sense, we need to also address advocacy, public policy, and we cannot do this alone. We have to do it in partnership. So the community has been working very hard on these 5 goals, especially in the first 3. And this year, actually earlier in the year, World Alliance approached us and shared about the upcoming summit in June and asked if we could help. And our best help is on goal 3. So this community of YMCA practitioners is helping the summit with building YMCA capacity, training our colleagues, our volunteers, our YMCAs on how to go about implementing or scaling up programs around employment and entrepreneurship, and also how to support, in this case, the youth-led approach that is part of the theory of change Carlos shared earlier. So the big change here, this is not just employment programs, this is not just entrepreneurship, but how do we make sure we incorporate this youth-led approach to this work? So if we can, I'm gonna stop here. Let's go back one, please. Community. Yes, I'm gonna stop here and ask my colleagues from the community, Tony and Natalie, if they want to add anything here before we go into the specifics of how we are supporting the summit.
Thank you, Renata. Thank you for this like systematic and very clear presentation about what we've been doing. I think most importantly, to describe for people that doesn't know anything about the community of impact and what we've been doing lately is, to put it this way, our current investment for the summit is to develop the tools, the necessity tools that would help, after all, the YMCA management and staff to co-create solutions and design solutions with youth from their constitutions. And the second goal is also to follow up with them on managing the grants that will be a product or winning product from the summit. And also that needs certain skills and certain follow-up mechanisms. So we, as a community of impact group, we are working on developing the specific goal, the specific goals, 2 specific goals. And we are hopeful that after the post-summit, also we will keep increasing this capacity and trying to build more synergy within the movement. Probably we're looking to more production in terms of capacity building, mentoring, coaching, and this is also an awesome linkage between the YMCA global family.
Thank you, Tony. Natalie, anything to add from you?
No, I think you guys have summed it up. Thank you, Renata. Thank you, Tony. I just want to reiterate that our work on the summit is one of our activities, one of our goals within our work plan, because we have a work plan. And obviously the pandemic interrupted a lot of what we wanted to do last year. But our goal and our mission continues. We know that the needs, the scale of the needs is only going to increase with COVID-19. And we have, really big ambitions and plans on how we can support the movement on that. So if you, Renata's going to come to this as well around, post-summit, what are we offering to the movement? But I'll leave it to Renata actually for income.
Okay, let's keep going then. Let's go back to the slides. Thank you, Tony and Natalie. So we are going to be focusing on training. Next one, yeah. So what we are working on as a community supporting the summit is developing the training track for YMCA. So there will be a lot of content aimed at the young people who are going to be organizing in the youth-led solutions teams. But we know for this type of work to succeed, especially in employment and entrepreneurship, that we need YMCAs that are capable, that are ready to provide the technical support that this type of program interventions require. So we need a big partnership between the YMCAs and the young people for this to succeed. So the community is going to be providing training opportunities for YMCA staff and YMCA volunteers on how to go about this youth-led approach, how to start an employment program, how to use the theory of change approach, and how to use the logic models to create solutions for employment and entrepreneurship with young people, how to use the Canvas business model, and many other technical aspects of employment and entrepreneurship programs. This will be pre-recorded, some of them will be live, but there will be a lot of content for YMCAs who are entering this space, as well as for YMCAs that have been working in this area for many years. We are also developing the criteria for how will the proposals be evaluated when a YMCA or a team brings a proposal. And here are the two types of funding that will be available. In one of the columns, we can see there will be program solutions. So there will be youth-led teams with YMCAs in them proposing a program solution on employment or entrepreneurship. And here we have a very succinct list of some of the criteria that we are looking at. So we want the YMCA to have experience in the topic, or if they don't have any experience, they would have a mentor. They would have to secure a mentor through the community of impact or with a partner, and the YMCA would have been taking the training that the community put together and participating in the summit. And then young people, a youth team, needs to be involved in the design of this program. So it's not enough to say we are going to have youth as participants. This is where the youth-led approach comes to life. The young people will be also involved in the design of any of these program solutions. So it's always a co-creation between the YMCA and the young people in the community. And as someone asked earlier, this could be for new programs or for scaling up existing programs. And someone was asking if we have an idea of the amounts available. We don't yet, but we hopefully will have this available soon. The other column shows that it could be funding for youth-led enterprises. And this could be a business solution with so the young people can make an income, or it could be a social enterprise. And these are businesses that are focused on serving a community need, or it could be a combination of both. So here are some of the key criteria. We will require a business plan or the basic canvas. And this should have been done with YMCA technical feedback and support, not just the young people alone. And again, the YMCA should have experience or a mentor and participate in the summit. And then we will know more about the type of funding, if it's a loan or a gift for the business, depending on each donor that we have for the summit. The crucial aspect is that all solutions have to involve young people and YMCAs. It's not YMCAs in one hand and young people in the other. The teams have to come together as one. So opportunities to connect, as Tony was mentioning. If your YMCA has experience and expertise in employment or entrepreneurship programs and would like to be a mentor of another YMCA that is starting in this area, please let us know. We are looking for more mentors to help the movement move forward. If you have capacity building content, if you are an expert in your YMCA in an area that would like to be part of the community of impact in sharing your expertise before the summit or after the summit, let us know. We are looking for more YMCAs with strong expertise. And we will come back after the summit to the movement again to look for more YMCAs, looking for opportunities to collaborate and share so we can all join the community and move forward our movement. And I think that's all for us. From now, I give it back to Gloria.
You're muted, Gloria.
Thank you so much, Renata, Natalie, and Tony. And now I will give space to anyone who might have a question for the community of impact members, and they will be able to provide any clarity that you may be seeking at the moment. So questions are welcome. You can type in the chat box, raise your hand, or even wave your hand, and we'll give you space to ask any question that you may have for Renata and her team.
We should, hello. We should first of all understand the capacity of YMCA organizations. Due to the pandemics, many YMCAs are facing financial problems. I think we should adopt a very pragmatic and realistic approach.
Okay, thank you so much, Mussarat, for your comment, and that will be put into consideration as we'll be looking to implementing any programs through the Youth-Led Solutions Initiative with YMCAs. Thank you. All right, if you have any questions again from what Renata has just shared or from what Mike and myself shared, please do feel free to reach out to us either through your area leads or through the email address that Mike has just shared on the chat box. That is youthsolutions@ymca.int. On our website as well, we have questions there. And as we are headed to winding up our session, I would like now to pass over the time or the space to John Phillips, my colleague, who's the communications director, and he's going to share with you all the toolkits that he will be disseminating to different YMCAs as you'll be helping us with the outreach and engagement efforts. Welcome, John.
Excuse me. Thanks, Gloria. Greetings to everyone. It's great to join you. Last but not least, communications. But I've seen, again, the quality and the quantity of what we're doing and the quality and quantity of this event. It's great. And as Carlos said at the beginning, this has roots on the 6th of June, 1844, and youth empowerment has taken us to youth-led solutions and young people as moving from passive consumers to active providers of solutions. It's important to say that this is not a world YMCA thing with a capital W. It's a worldwide YMCA thing, and we're all in it. And I just wanted, in my few little minutes now, 2 little slides to say, first of all, what is World YMCA doing on the communications front? And then secondly, we'll look at what we'd like you to do. What have we done? Well, to start with, we have done a lot of branding. It's worth saying at the October Summit, there wasn't any branding. And you see it on the right of your screen there, the paint strokes around the YMCA logo and the strip line and the same typeface. And you will see these images and images of young people repeated again and again. So as well as branding, I've used the word 2 websites here. There is material on the initiative and on the work summit on the corporate World YMCA website, but the most important website is a standalone one, youthsolutions.ymca.int. It's very skillfully made. Thank you, Mike, for that. It's dynamic, and our task now, when you go and visit the Future of Work Summit page, is to populate that in the next few weeks when we know more about agendas, speakers, etc. Now, we first went public on this the 9th of the 4th there, the 9th of April. And it's a little bit like long distance running. When do you make the break for home? You don't want to go too soon. You don't want to go too late. We're definitely running a little late. We hope we're not too late. We hope we've timed it right. But on that date, when we had our branding in place, when we had our website in place, we were in touch with all of the contacts on our database. We spoke to national general secretaries, and we started action on social media. But the good thing that's happened is that registration opened on the 21st of April, and that's the sign for the real kicking into action of our communications, ours and yours. The important thing there, the fifth line, is that on Monday or Tuesday, we will share a Google folder housing all of the assets. So all of the visual assets, all of the logos and all of the images. Very importantly, we will add a 1-minute video to that. Very importantly, we'll add some literature to that, which gives you good wording to use yourselves when you're describing the initiative and the summit. You don't have to use it all, you can pick and choose. What else will we do when we've done that on Monday or Tuesday? Then we go into big mobilization mode again, going back to national movements, back to partners, our partners in the Big Six, with whom we've been working very closely in the last few weeks on the Global Youth Summit. So we've got some track record with them. And indeed, this summit is our contribution, you might say, to that global youth mobilization. So we will go to them, we will mobilize the partners who are within the summit themselves, because they have platforms and they have audiences. And the bottom line of that slide, we will send out a series of e-bulletins as tasters before the event. And very importantly, we will build up a social media drumbeat. And this, it's up to us to generate messaging every 1 or 2 days. Coming soon, 20 days, coming soon, 10 days, new speaker, etc. Let's move to the second slide, which is what we want you to do. And it's simply to share this across your networks, your constituents. Drive traffic to the website. You see the page on the right there, you see at bottom right, register now. That's the key. Registration, bums on seats to begin with. It's more than that, because registration, we want to build enough interest for real engagement. Use the website, use the hashtag there, you see it there, hashtag YMCA Youth-Led Solutions. Develop your own stories. This is your topic as well, the future of work, the challenges in your areas. You can tailor what you want to say, building on our materials. And ultimately, we want to help you with publicizing the projects that come out of the solutions teams. We had 35 of them coming from the climate summit. We will have as many again coming out of this work summit. All of those solutions will end up on this website. We want photography, we want film, we want testimony. So I've tried to just very briefly say, this is what we've done, and we invite you to do the same. And coming on Monday or Tuesday, an early Christmas present is some of the materials that allow you to do this. Thank you, Gloria.
Thank you so much, John. And I believe that the national movements will be waiting on you to share the toolkits, as we will be asking them in the next steps on how they can join efforts for engagement, mobilization, and outreach. And my colleague Mike is going to share the next steps. So what's next that will follow this information session? Welcome, Mike.
Thanks, Gloria. Yeah, I think this is really important. What do we want you to do now? And we've tried to make it with 3 simple asks, really. The first is to mobilize young leaders, staff, your colleagues, external networks. This isn't just an event for YMCA people. This is an event that will be working with other organizations as well. So tell people about the event and get them to register and help them to understand what the initiative is and what Youth-Led Solutions is about, what YMCA's Youth-Led Solutions is about. Secondly, identify someone at your YMCA that will help to support the solution team at your local YMCA or nationally. It might end up that through the summit, the young leaders that are attending from your YMCA might form a team with young people from other countries and come up with cross-border solutions. That's absolutely fine. But it's important that we are ready to support them with that, with YMCA, resource and help. And finally, if you're from a national movement or an area alliance, work with your local YMCA to engage with the community of impact and all the things that Renata, Natalie and Tony were talking about. You can reach us all through the email youthsolutions@ymca.int, or if you go to the website, there's a contact form on there so you can reach out to us if you have any questions at all. And after we finish the session in a moment, a couple of us will stay behind. So if you have extra questions, we'll allow those that are content to go, and we'll stay behind for a few minutes to answer any other questions. And finally, just to say a big thank you again to Carolina, who's been providing a subtitled translation for us as well.
Thank you so much, Mike. Thank you for everyone who made this happen. And thank you to each and every one of you who joined us today to this information session. We are looking forward to working together as we start the journey towards driving youth employment and entrepreneurship. And we hope that you'll be joining us in our efforts as we champion for youth leadership within our movement. So thank you, everyone. As Mike mentioned, we will stay back for anyone who may have questions, and you can still continue to reach us if you have any inquiries through your area leads, through the emails that we have shared during this call, and you'll hear from us again soon. Thank you so much, everyone. If you're watching from a pre-recorded content, we hope to see you soon. Have a good day, have a good evening, have a good afternoon.
And a couple of us will stay on if you have further questions as well. Pedro, I note your question in the chat. Is it possible for participants to only come to some of the summit? Yes, you can pick and choose what parts you want to come to. It's not compulsory that you attend the entire summit. However, as we said, the seed funding and grant funding that's available after the summit will be dependent on attendance. And just attending for an hour might not be good enough. We would expect that you might drop into different parts. I think that's quite important that that level of engagement is there. Thanks. Does anyone else have any other questions while people are dropping off? The session has formally ended. This is just an opportunity if you have further questions. Dedrick, did you have a follow-up? Oh, I think that might have been a goodbye. It's great to see so many of you are happy to stay behind. We're just here for any other questions you might have.
Thank you.
Thanks, Masarat.
Thank you. Oh, thank you, Antonio. You're already sharing on the website. Thank you.
One of my favorite YMCAs, Antonio, having been to Setúbal. Obviously, they're all my favorite, but I've been to YMCA Setúbal. I would love to come back. You have excellent food. Does anyone have any other questions that's still on the call? Anything that you want more clarification on, that didn't make any sense, that we can help you with, relevant to the Youth-Led Solutions Summit?
What is the meaning of life, Mike?
42, for anyone that is a fan of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Well, I think that might be it, Gloria.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone. And we hope to see you soon, either in the summit, or we'll be reaching out to you with different toolkits or information and updates as we wind close to our summit. Thank you so much. Have a good day, good afternoon, good evening. Bye.